And hello, and welcome to the Slam Jam Wrestling Show here on the Extreme Improv Xstreamed YouTube channel, as well as the Slam Jam Wrestling Show YouTube channel. Make sure you smash that subscribe button on whichever platform you're watching on. If you're just listening to the audio version, I welcome you. We're going to have a bunch of fun and talk about all kinds of great stuff here today on Slam Jam. Now, topics we're going to be covering today. There is the PWI 500 has just come out a couple of hours ago. I don't have the full list. I may be able to find it. It leaks to the internet, but we'll definitely be discussing the top 10. We'll also be discussing the top 81,035 people who are at Wembley Stadium a couple of weeks ago, or as it turns out, significantly less than that, about 9,000 people less. Now, how did that discrepancy happen? We're going to be discussing that on the show. We're going to be discussing about Jade Cargill supposedly leaving AEW for WWE, and we're going to be looking what other headlines and things are going on in this wonderful world of professional wrestling here on the Slam Jam Wrestling Show. Now, you may notice that I said we. Now, my name is David Postansky, but as you can see if you're watching it, and as you will not have heard any other voices, I'm the only one here at the moment, but that literally doesn't matter because I'm going to be joined. We're going to have some run-ins during the show. Hopefully there's going to be a bunch of run-ins, and we'll have a jolly good time talking about all of this. So I'll be able to, what this means is you just get me for a little while, and I'm going to go over all of these breaking headlines, and we'll be able to, get to the meat of the matter, and then we'll bring in the analysts to go over it. Now, I'm going to begin with the PWI 500, the annual PWI 500. The magazine is out. Let's bring up like we like to do on the screen, some screen share action, and you'll be able to see what it is that I'm looking at specifically. So here we can see the PWI 500 magazine front cover, and as it reveals, the Shield lives on, because we have in third place Jon Moxley, in second place, Roman Reigns, and in first place, Seth freaking Rollins. And I'll be honest, I can understand it. I can understand why these three would be at the top, but I feel like possibly those three being at the top is a little bit of a gimmick, a little bit of a publicity stunt just to put the Shield as 1, 2, and 3. Roman, I think, should be at number 1. Like, Roman, the only reason I could say for Roman Reigns not to be number 1 this year is just because he's been a little bit more part-time, or a lot more part-time, and hasn't been on all of the weekly shows. He's not really defended his undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship very often at all, in fact. But he has been, very much the centre of a lot of what has happened in WWE. Seth Rollins, obviously, he's the first ever World Heavyweight Champion of the new iteration of the belt, and it has its own lineage, so he is literally the first, and yeah, I can see why he's up there, but to me, I haven't been as excited about Seth this year. If it counts the last year, which it would, his feud with Cody from WrestleMania last year, I don't know if that's going to fall into... That's like a lot more than a year ago at the time of this, because this is... Wow, this magazine is, if we bring it up on the screen again, it is dated December 2023. So this is one of the interesting things with the wrestling magazines, is with them doing stuff like that, they're very outdated by the time they come out, so they need to make sure it isn't all just about current speculation, I guess, nowadays. But I haven't had a copy of one of these wrestling magazines in 3 or 4 years, at least before the pandemic. But Seth number 1, Roman number 2, Mox number 3. Let's see who else we have in the top 10. We'll go over this again later when we have some of the guys to do a run-in. Oh, have I literally just knocked this off the screen? No, I've still got it. So after Moxley in number 3, we have Gunther in number 4. And obviously, longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. It's completely understandable why Gunther will be up there, because he's had some spectacular matches, possibly the best matches in WWE over the last year, thinking back to Clash at the Castle, thinking back just very recently what he's had with Chad Gable, and the longest reigning Intercontinental Champions absolutely made that championship mean a lot more over the last year. But I don't know, like, it'll be interesting to see what the next year brings for Gunther, because he could find himself, like, how long does this Intercontinental Championship reign need to last? Honky Tonk Man, the previous longest reigning champion, was had that record for 30 odd years, and realistically it's not going to be beaten anytime soon again. It's going to take at least a year and a half, 2 years for it to be equal to what Gunther has now done, and going by the last 30 years, that isn't something that happens very often. So Gunther could keep it, and the longer he keeps it, the more impossible it'll be for anyone to ever overtake it in the future. But that then leaves, what do you do with Gunther? Do you have him break the record and then lose it soon after, and then he could perhaps start chasing Seth to try to be a world champion? That wouldn't be a bad thing. Or do you have it so that he keeps going with it, like 2 years, 3 years? Now, obviously, Roman's on an incredible run as the Universal, the WWE champion, and Gunther is not losing that belt, so there are plenty of other titles, with the main one being the World Championship that Seth's got, so I think that one's going to have to end up being a little bit more hot potato. Or it will be that Gunther drops the Intercontinental title and eventually starts chasing Seth. But unless Cody is going to go after Roman's belt, then where does Cody fit in? If CM Punk's coming in, is CM Punk going after Seth's belt? Quite possibly, because especially with the comments Seth made where he was like, what does he say? Pepsi Phil, Philly Phil. When he said that, I always thought he was like Philadelphia. I was like, he's not from Philadelphia. But anyway, Philly Phil, and he called him a cancer. So fighting words there, and that could be the groundwork for CM Punk to come in against Seth and go for that championship. But with the Paul Heyman connection, I think CM Punk coming in is the better storyline, to have him come in and challenge Roman and just get involved in everything surrounding Paul Heyman and a Paul Heyman guy and this kind of stuff. You could even bring Brock back into that there. Imagine the main event at WrestleMania next year. Now, Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. Love it. Absolute classic. But you could have Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Brock Lesnar. Now, I think that's a pretty exciting prospect as well. And of course, you know, there's all the rumours, forever rumours, that it'll be Roman Reigns versus The Rock at some point. So, and then, like, where does any of that leave Cody? So, there's lots of people. Where does that leave Jey Uso? Where does that leave Sami Zayn, who I think seems well and truly out of that picture? Does Drew McIntyre ever want back in the picture? Is he potentially going to leave WWE if he doesn't get the nod to have a World Championship run again at some point? But I think his better bet is to go after Seth. But anyway, that was Gunther. So we've got Seth Rollins, then we have Roman Reigns, Jon Moxley, then Gunther, then Hijo, I can't even pronounce it, but Del Vikingo. Vikingo, that little guy that like lands on the back of his neck on tables in AEW, is apparently 5th in the world. Like, how do they decide this? This is like what I mean. So Seth, Roman, Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley, obviously, within the last year, or just over a year ago, he was AEW World Champion. He's just won the International Championship from Orange Cassidy, but you have to believe that probably didn't factor into this decision, because it would have to have been going to print fairly recently. So then it would just be everything with the Blackpool Combat Club, and Moxley has been a big part of AEW, has always stepped up. Now I haven't always appreciated everything that Moxley does. I don't like some of the ultra-violence, the fact that he juices in every single opportunity he's got. But he is a big star, and he has been, every time there's been a problem for AEW, he has stepped up. Every time, like, Punk was injured, or Punk got fired, or lots of stuff with Punk, Moxley kind of steps up. But Vikingo, it's just like, I've got no idea. Someone will have to come on the show and tell me a justification for why Vikingo is ranked number 5th in the world over MJF, who has been world champion for... Well, actually, no, Moxley... Did Moxley win the world title again and then lose it to MJF? I'm trying to think, after Brawl Out from last year. So Moxley may have been world champion within the last year, but then obviously for most of the year, MJF has been the world champion. MJF also main evented at All In. He then didn't main event at All Out, and I'd say, perhaps other than when he went against Bryan Danielson months and months ago, I'm not sure that MJF had the pay-per-view main events in the middle of the year. Like, did he for Double or Nothing? I'll have to double check that. I've got a feeling like maybe they did the Stadium Stampede as the main event or something, but I don't think MJF has always been the main event. And that's a problem in any wrestling promotion. Like, I know for CM Punk years ago, when CM Punk was WWE champion, they would put John Cena matches as the main event, and it was just a lack of faith that that Punk was really the main event. I think the World Champion should be the main event. There are some people that can be the main event without the World Championship, but usually when you do that, it means that you don't have a true main event World Champion. And that's happened a few times. Like, when they had the old version of the World Heavyweight Championship in WWE, and you'd end up with, like, Jack Swagger or Dolph Ziggler or some of these guys, or if, like, they had the ECW World title, it's like we knew these were supposedly world titles, but they weren't the main event. And you didn't see the guys that were holding it as the true main event. Okada, obviously, probably is a permanent resident of the top 10, so no problem there. Orange Cassidy, bleh, right, like, he's had a heck of a run as the international champion. The gimmick is over with the crowd. I don't think he's a top 10 wrestler. He's not bad. I quite enjoy his matches, but I don't know. Like, I'm not sold on Orange Cassidy as a top 10 guy. Josh Alexander. Wow, like, I barely know Josh Alexander. I don't really watch Impact Wrestling. This is where someone's going to tell me in the comments that he isn't in Impact or whatever. But that's just because how often do I watch Impact? So, let's have a look here. Let's see. I think he's been world champion. Josh Alexander. Let's see what his New Japan Pro Wrestling 2021 to present. I just heard a really weird noise in this room. That's a bit freaky. I'm not going to worry about it though. And let's see what else we've got. Okay, so longest reigning Impact World Champion 2022 to 2023. Well, that certainly can justify why he's there. Let's see. Okay, so he defended his title against Jacob Fatu July last year. So again, I don't know if that will fall into this last year. I wonder where he was ranked last year. That'd be the interesting thing, because again, I need to get back into Impact. I used to watch TNA all the time, and I was watching it when it became Impact, but probably in the last 5 or 6 years, I've seen some pay-per-views here and there, but Josh Alexander isn't someone I have watched tons and tons and tons, just because it says here he joined Impact in 2019. So I'll have seen some of him, especially during the pandemic era, but he's not someone I'm super duper familiar with. And then closing out the top 10, we have Cody Rhodes. Now, Cody is someone who I can accept being in the top 10 just because everything he has done has counted, but obviously he only came back at the Royal Rumble, but he won the Royal Rumble. He main evented WrestleMania, and not a lot of people had the faith in him that he was ready for that spot or deserved that spot or whatever, but I thought he'd do fine, and it was a great match, and the audience were very ready to see Cody win that belt. He just didn't. So let's see if I can like bring this up, just so for whenever anyone else does join me, I won't lose this top 10 list and have to search for it again. But that's interesting. Just to go over that list one last time before anyone else joins. The top 10 once again are Rollins, Reigns, Moxley, Gunther, Vikingo, MJF, Okada, Cassidy, Alexander, and Cody. And I do realise that I said all of their last names except for Cody, and I just went on Cody. But if I'd said Rhodes, then I think we know who that is. But I think just because he lost the rights to that name for a while, Cody Rhodes, more people just say Cody. So let's have a look here. One of the other news headlines today is Jade Cargill potentially leaving AEW. And I almost feel like this is a BS story, but it might be true. And if it is true, then this match makes sense. If you can see the video version on the screen I'm showing from Twitter, we have TBS champion Chris Statlander going against Jade, and that's Friday, September 15th. So that's literally tomorrow. I don't know the spoiler on this, if it was pre-taped. I don't think Rampage is going to be live. But I assume Jade isn't taking it, because if Jade was taking the championship, we'd know about that, and we wouldn't be saying that Jade is leaving. So if Jade is not going to win the title, then why bring her in just to have a rematch with Statlander and then lose? So this feels like Jade hasn't had her rematch. She's coming in to have the rematch, still lose, put Statlander over again, and then Jade might be out of there. Or that seems like a really convenient story that people will have made up just based on the fact that this match happened. People look at it and say, oh, Jade had a rematch, Jade lost, is Jade leaving? And then the internet runs wild with it. There was something I saw recently, and then I've seen people reference it, where Jade said, oh, I'm not going to be going anywhere else other than AEW. And I remember weeks and weeks ago, like round when she lost the championship, she then said something to the effect of that, like she's kind of done with this for a while, or she wanted a break from it, or she wanted to be outside of that bubble. Now, I'm trying to remember when Jade first came in. She may have been brought in a story, because I remember it was like her in the early days with Brandy Rhodes, and like there was some smack talk, or maybe I'm misremembering who that was with. But it may have been that there's a connection to Cody here, and with Cody being in WWE, you have to think at some point, is any of that former EVP making deals that I think Michael Cole referenced a week or two ago on Raw or SmackDown? When is that actually going to play into things? When is Cody going to have someone on the phone saying, I can get you that meeting with Triple H, with Nick Khan, not Tony Khan, or with Vince McMahon, and start stealing? Because since Cody went from AEW to WWE, no one else has jumped ship. So, or at least not anyone that comes to mind. So when is the next big star going to jump from AEW to WWE? There haven't even particularly been that many that have jumped ship from WWE to AEW. Not like there was at the beginning. Like, we reached that point where, like, obviously in the early days there was FTR, there was Brody Lee, there was Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy and Brody Lee, I think, debuted on the same show. And there were people that were choosing to leave WWE to go to AEW. And like people like Miro, he wasn't being used by WWE, so he wanted out anyway. And that was the case for a few of them. But then you got Daniel Bryan, who main evented WrestleMania, and then still left the same year to go to AEW. Adam Cole wasn't being used. He was going to be Keith Lee's manager, and then he turned up the same show as Daniel Bryan. Keith Lee eventually went to AEW, but there was like stuff, had he been fired by WWE, a little bit of, well, not necessarily controversy, but I'm a little bit uncertain. I think there was a little bit more meat to the bone of that story. But it has definitely dried up. There aren't as many people jumping from WWE to AEW, and other than Cody, there really hasn't been many, if any, that I can instantly bring to mind. Put it in the comments somewhere if you can think of anything different, where people have jumped from AEW over to WWE. So if Jade was to do it, with her being the longest reigning and first ever, and one of two actually at this stage, TBS champion, so she was the longest reigning champion in AEW, I think. Certainly longest reigning woman to be a champion. And for her to jump to WWE would be a fairly big deal. Do you know what? Daniel Price in the comments. Like, I have to check your comments just because I hadn't got the window open, so I can see that it starts with an and I don't know what the first part of that is. So I'm going to check what you've given us there, just so I can read out from the comments. Just because I was waiting for a couple of other guys to join me. It's all cool if there's something delaying them. But I am going solo a little bit longer here than what I was thinking. So let's check what you said, and this will vamp for a little bit. But I think Jade going to WWE would be huge for Jade. She would be an instantly big star going in there. She has a big star presentation and feel to her anyway. So let's have a look here. So Vikingo had a match on Dynamite with Omega. Meltzer gave it 8 million stars, and the AEW hardcores went nuts over it. He almost brained himself. That's the thing which I mentioned. When Vikingo did like that leap and he put himself where his head caught like the side of the apron, and he went through a table and stuff. I don't know. I remember when it was said Vikingo versus Omega, and it was like dream match, and I was like, dream match? Who is Vikingo? And I looked him up, and he'd got like 2,000 followers on Twitter. Or maybe it was 5,000, but whatever it was, I was like, how can someone with like 5,000 followers on Twitter have a dream match with anyone? Like, for the Slam Jam wrestling account on Twitter, I've got over 1,000 followers, and that's not a lot. It's a small thing, but it's like, am I just need to multiply that by 5, and then it's a dream match? Oh, finally! The Sarajit has come back to Slam Jam. Hello, Sarajit. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Oh, thank Sarajit. Like, I was here. I felt, I was waiting for that hot tag at some point. Someone just to come in and save me, and finally you are here. Finally, Sarajit. And look at that. You've got the WWE undisputed championship belt there. That is ginormous.
Yes, it is, and I believe this is one of the best championship belt replica that currently WWE shop has on their list. And this thing is heavy. It's around, I believe, 10 to 11 pounds.
Wow.
And the strap is really flexible, unlike the other belts. Though it's PU, but it's still flexible. And the curve, look at that curve.
Yeah, that's a good curve. I'll be honest, it looks an amazing belt as you hold it there. It was never one of my favourite designs. I always liked the winged eagle, and then I thought it was a downgrade when they made the big eagle. And when they made that, and like the wings on the eagle are kind of upside down, I was never on board with it.
Yeah, but when I first started watching WWE back in 2002, this was the championship belt that was being used at the time. So it's one of my favorite championship belts.
Makes sense. The winged eagle was the championship when I watched, and to me that is the WWF championship belt.
Yeah, this was, I believe, and also this had a very short span of period of time that it was used.
Thank God.
I think it was used for around 3 years,
yeah.
But it was modified for the most of the times. First it was WWF, then it became WWE. First it was small size, then it became this enormous size. Actually, this is the Undisputed version 2 replica, the one that was introduced in 2002 Vengeance. The one where Rock won the triple threat match.
Okay, awesome.
Then there was another version where the strap was cut down to make it look a bit small. Then there was another version 5 that came out, which was ultimately used until 2005. after until John Cena retired it for the Spinner Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Sarah G, there's a bunch of stories. I've been discussing some of them. I will just like backtrack slightly, just because I don't know if you've seen, but the PWI top 10 is like, well, not the top 10, the top 500 for this year has been announced, or like the magazine's gone out today, and I've got the top 10 here. Do you know who is in the top 10, or is it number one?
I haven't seen it yet.
Who would you guess then is at number one for 2022 to 2023, or just as they may count it, 2023?
I'm guessing Roman Reigns.
It's not actually. Roman's at number two.
And probably MJF or
No.
CM Punk.
No, Punk isn't in there. What a surprise. But, well, no,
I mean,
2023, he came back in June. He was terminated by the end of August. So it wouldn't have been Punk this year.
I have no idea then.
It's Seth.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I was surprised. First world champion of the new design, but I was surprised by that.
I'm a little surprised about that too.
And so I'll give you the top 10 and you can give me your thoughts on it. We've got Seth, followed by Roman, followed by Moxley, so complete Shield domination there. You know, the Hounds of Justice, absolutely. I feel like their positioning there has to be a gimmick, that they literally like, let's just put Mox. If they're saying that Roman and Seth are 1 and 2, they're like, let's put Mox in there at number 3, and then you've got the Shield dominate. But then we have Gunther, then we have Vikingo, MJF, Okada, Orange Cassidy, Josh Alexander. Yeah, look at that, Seth in the centre there. Orange Cassidy at number 8, Josh Alexander at number 9, and Cody Rhodes at number 10.
I'm surprised that Cody Rhodes even made it to the top 10. I mean, except for winning the Royal Rumble, I don't think he has done that much in the ring this year.
I think he...
Except for
Go ahead.
Except for talking to the crowd and asking them what you should talk about.
Yeah. Well, okay, so, but when you think about it, okay, so what I'll say Cody Rhodes has been my highlights. Obviously, Cody won the Royal Rumble. He then did have the main event at Mania with Roman. He then he's feuded with Brock. You know, I think there is enough justification for Cody to be number 10 at least. Top 5 probably not, but 5 to 10 I can understand it.
Probably.
He just hasn't finished the story, which is the problem.
Yeah, he's not a very good writer.
No. I'm surprised that we don't have Sami Zayn in there. Now, from the end of last year, Royal Rumble, whatever it was, or whatever the early pay-per-view where he got the main event with Roman, through to main eventing night 1 of WrestleMania. After that, I'd say the tag titles, they haven't had as strong opponents if they weren't going against the Usos, or obviously Sami and KO went against Solo and Roman. Other than that, I don't think the tag titles have meant as much. But I'd say that Sami should be in there if Cody's in there.
Yeah, because Sami at least had a great push pre-WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Also, somewhat during the WrestleMania show, I mean, he was at the main event at night 1. But after that, I don't think he or Kevin Owens together was given any significant push.
No, I do agree. Like, I would say them dropping the belts a couple of weeks ago was probably their best match in a while.
But the bummer of that thing is, WWE, you know about Superstar Spectacle, right? The live event in India.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was announced that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens will be defending their tag team championship against the Indus Shay.
Yeah.
That's Veer Mahan and Sangha.
Oh yeah, so what actually happened?
Yes, it was even advertised on the WWE India Instagram page, Twitter page, It was also advertised at the WWE, the Sony network, the channel that airs WWE here. But suddenly, 2 weeks before the show, we learned that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens lost the championship.
Yeah. The card is
Actually, not 2
subject to
weeks,
change.
actually like 1 week. 1 week before the main event. 1 week before the event.
Yeah. What do you make of that? What do you think is the reason for that decision making?
Because maybe the Judgment Day is too hot right now, and I mean, look, let me say give out a little bit of spoiler.
Yeah.
During the Super Spectacle, the said tag team match was already taking place, but the outcome of the match, first the match was resulted in a DQ since Jinder Mahal interfered. Then the match was turned into a 6-man tag match. I don't think that would have been happened if Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens had the tag team championship with them.
Yeah.
And they would have had to had a definitive winner.
No, I completely agree. Okay, so one thing I want to... So you were at the show. Where were you sat?
I was sitting. Wait, let me get my phone. I actually forgot my phone. I'll get my phone and then you can.
That's
show you.
that's cool. That's cool. So I'll just vamp for a moment. There's still a bunch of stuff, guys. If you haven't done so already, please smash that subscribe button on YouTube.com/Extreme Improv. Or if you just are interested in the wrestling side of stuff, go over to the Slam Jam Wrestling Show YouTube channel. Excuse me, which is, I believe, youtube.com/@SlamJam Wrestling Show. And smash that subscribe button there, because I've got an announcement coming up in the next few days, and it's going to be that there's going to be a ton of cool stuff coming to the Slam Jam channel. Now, once that's, now that I've done with that plug, Sarajit, tell me things.
So this is where I was sitting. I was in the second row.
Yep.
I don't know if you
second row, amazing.
Yeah, I was. This is the entrance ramp. That's the entrance ramp.
Yeah.
That's the first step, and
yeah, no, I can
this is
see.
where I was sitting.
Okay, so Sarajit, what I will ask you then, because it was going viral, when John Cena, as he often does, threw his shirt into the crowd, literally 5 or 6 guys got their hands onto it, and it looked like the beginnings of a riot. How close were you to that, and did you get the shirt?
No, it was actually thrown completely the opposite direction to where I was sitting.
Okay, did you see that there was a commotion happening?
No, I was too focused on the match.
No, good for you.
John Cena was literally 2 feet away from me.
Wow. But have you seen the clip though? It's very funny. John Cena's face of looking like, uh-oh, what have I done?
I have seen that video, but he also threw his cap on the same direction as well.
Oh wow. What was the show filmed? Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's amazing. Wow, that is like smelling distance. Like you could literally smell the thugonomics on him.
Yep. I couldn't see him, but I did actually smell him.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that is his Achilles heel. Okay, let's go over. Let me just. Oh my gosh, that's cool. Have you kept it mint in packaging?
Yes.
Are you going to open it?
I also got one more thing.
I bet you do. Right, okay, so on this is the WWE Superstar Spectacle. And, oh yeah, John Cena stuff. Never give up. Yeah. No, that's great merch. Okay, so what was the best match of the show? Obviously, it's an interesting lineup of the card. We had KO and Sammy against Indus Sher, and that ended in a no contest. I don't even have a timing for this. Was it filmed?
I think so.
Oh
I mean,
man.
there were camera people over there. The cameramen were definitely there, but not like the production camera that WWE usually uses during their show.
Yeah.
They were holding some handheld cameras, like DSLRs. And they
Yeah,
were
sure.
recording it. See here, I got a picture of Kevin Owens
Yeah.
fixing the turnbuckle mat.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, that was KO, Drew, and Sammy defeating Inda Shah. Natty Neidhart defeated Zoe Stark. Gunther defeated Shanky. Bron Baker defeated Odyssey Jones.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any way I can share some picture video over here?
I honestly don't know, to be honest. I don't know if that's. I don't know. This is StreamYard. It's not Zoom. I'm not as.
I have a share screen.
Do you have share screen?
Yes.
Give it a go. Let's see what happens. Keep it clean.
Oh, I will.
Yeah, and then so Rhea defeated Natalia. So Natty wrestled twice.
Yes, Natty had 2 matches.
Why?
The thing is that because actually the match between Natalia and Zoe Stark was supposed to be Becky Lynch versus Zoe Stark, but for some reason Becky Lynch could not make it to the show.
Yeah, they said that she got a rip in her passport.
Yeah, and that's why they had to change the match last moment. And also before the match started, it was announced that whoever wins the match will get a championship match with Rhea Ripley. But as we all know, that Natalia was already booked to have a championship match with Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, that's it. We've got our second run in. Capelthave, say hello to the people.
Hail from the land of wrestling lions and leopards and crocodiles. Okay, skip the lions. There are no lions in Sri Lanka. But hey, hail! After a long time, and you can't actually see me because I don't have a John Cena background. StreamYard!
So, yeah, Cap, we were just talking about the WWE Superstar Spectacle, which was in India like a week ago, or September 8th. So, yeah, just about a week ago.
Oh, I saw just photos on the Slam Jam where he posted where he was on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, yeah, so, and then the main event, as you said, Cena and Seth frickin' Rollins defeated Imperium. Okay, Sarajit, you want to... Okay, is everything you're going to be showing here, if I click add to stage, is it going to be clean?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, let's see what we've got here.
So, this is the entrance ramp.
Yep.
This was during the meet and greet, actually.
Yeah, you attended the meet and greet. Let's see who you were stood with. Oh, wow, it's this video. So it's not going to play music here. You got to stop it. Stop. I got to mute it. The mute. Sorry, man. I can't play music on the show.
The speaker is there, David.
I've muted it.
I'll mute it.
Yeah, it's cool. I've muted. So yeah, McIntyre coming out. That's awesome. Like I literally, I was like right next to McIntyre, like when he made an appearance at Clash at the Castle, but I didn't get to stand and pose with him properly. He was in motion. Look at that audience. It's like he's at Dynamite.
What?
This
It's
was
like
like
a
almost.
Yeah, no, he's just turned up to an AEW crowd. It's full house.
This was actually like 3 hours before the show started. So
I was like, why? It's like a boxing ring. There's no one.
Yeah.
here comes.
Well, I
The
think
second
you're still like on lockdown, right? Who's that? Oh, okay,
Jinder Mahal?
Jinder. Yeah, that's fine. I couldn't tell you
member
for a
of-
second.
It looks completely different now.
This is where we chanted 3MB. This is where
Amazing.
we started chanting.
Oh, the great insult.
Imagine if Heath had come out. I would have popped for that. Oh, look at that. He did the 3MB thing as well.
Way back, baby.
Yeah, he did the
Not
guitar.
only that,
Okay, check out
Even-
right at the end there. Look at Drew. Look at Drew.
look at Jinder first. He also did it.
Oh, did he? Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That.
It's such a shame, really, because you think of both of these guys. Like, Drew was meant to be the chosen one, literally, and then he was a complete flop, ended up in 3MB. Jinder didn't really have much of a good early run at all. No one thought he'd be anything. Then he became world champion, and they literally dropped him with, you know, he dropped the title before he was meant to be wrestling Brock Lesnar. And then they completely gave up on him.
You know how Jinder, I think one thing is that they wanted Jinder because they were reaching India at that time. They were heavily marketing on India when they actually pushed Jinder Mahal. But you know the other thing? Jinder freshly came off of doing steroids.
Well,
like,
yeah.
Yes, I finally have the guy.
But that was the thing. When Jinder came back and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" Like he was in insane shape.
Juiced up to the bone. I mean, that happened to Drew as well, right? Like in 3MB, he was a scrawny guy.
Yeah, but he was like super young. He went to like TNA and he was like a world champion there.
But even there, he was a bit smaller than he was when he made his return appearance in WWE. Because when he made his return, he also was on the juice.
Well, probably.
Like, yes!
Probably.
Yes!
So let's bring it up actually. Drew Galloway.
I think I can finally unmute this because there's no music playing in.
Okay, go for it. Go for it. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm just going to bring up... I'll just swap this back, but I can bring it back. So, look, here's Drew Galloway McIntyre in TNA.
Look,
and he is a lot
he's
smaller.
not on the juice. He's
Yeah.
not on the juice.
Look, I mean, look at this guy. Yeah, really different. You're right, Cap.
Like, look at the beneath picture. That is debut return picture, and he was, like, shredded and walked out at the same.
Yeah.
McMahon has a thing for bodybuilders.
Added every time.
Okay, anything else of note, Sarajit? Because we have a few more stories to cover.
If you guys want to watch the finish of the main event, I can stream that as well.
Again, I might get into trouble for it. So
Copyright.
yeah, I don't think I can actually stream it.
I don't think there's any music in that.
It's not just music. I don't think I can show the main event just so that we watch it. Literally, yesterday when we did Geek Battle, Cap, you know I showed that Godzilla trailer? Yeah, I got slapped for it by YouTube copyright. So I need to be super careful now. But anyway.
It's the picture. I mean, the only thing you can get away with is doing this.
Well, yeah, exactly. Right, so it'll be amazing
I can share some still images as well.
It's cool. It's cool. Find something good, and we'll come back to it. But there is a bunch of things happening within the wrestling world. One of the funniest. Now, you were obviously at the Superstar Spectacle. A couple of weeks ago, I was at All In. And I was so pleased to be part of the biggest wrestling event of all time. Until it turned out that it wasn't. So Will Ospreay had got literally a tattoo. I don't know if we can get away with showing this. Again, there's no music. It's just something from his phone. So I'm going to give this a go here. In fact, first of all, let's see if I can find the tattoo.
Just do this.
Right, so first of all, well, now I'm going to bring up, this is why we have the screen share. So literally, this cool tattoo that Will Ospreay had, it's Roman numerals, MM for 1000, 1000, XX 20, 123, 2023, and then that's going to be the month. Then this second thing here, I believe, is the coordinates, but then down here, 81,035, the attendance. He beat Chris Jericho, hometown hero, beat Chris Jericho cleanly in the middle of the ring, and to commemorate this moment, Ospreay got a tattoo. And then earlier today or last night, it turned out someone did a what is it, like a Freedom of Information Act request, like a subject access request for the information. How many went through the turnstiles at Wembley Stadium? And it turned out there were 72,000 people there. So here we will see Will Ospreay's reaction to it, and we'll give commentary. So anyone watching on YouTube saying that this is copyright violation, we are giving commentary and opinion on this. Oh, where's the sound? Where's the sound? Oh, Will! Billy, where's your voice? Okay, you're just laying us down there, Ospreay. So, I can't hear a word of him. Let's see. Have I got this muted? No, it's not muted. Don't know why that's muted. Someone else has obviously had the copyright issue. Let's see if we can... Will Ospreay tattoo. Tattoo. Let's bring it up. We'll find it. It's going to be somewhere. Okay. Ah, son of a gun. It doesn't want to play. I'll see if I can bring it up on my phone. You won't be able to hear it as well, though. That's a real bummer. But basically, he couldn't believe, and he's literally like, why do I have this tattoo? Oh, hang on. I've got it. So, Ringside News has shared this, so credit to their version. So, here we see Ringside News. Let's see Ospreay's reaction to finding out that the attendance was incorrect.
Bro, you cannot make this fucking shit up. I am currently in Japan. I've had no fucking sleep. I am tired. And I wake up. This is the worst fucking day of my life.
Worst day of his life.
Do you know how hard it was for me to get a tattoo? My mum fucking hates them, bro. They announced it to everyone. They announced it for... They announced it to 81,000 people. I've got this fucking thing on my arm.
That is so funny. Like,
I mean, he should have learned from The Undertaker when he had the Sarah tattoo, but then he had to remove it.
well,
So
at least it wasn't across his neck. Yeah, I'm sure Michelle McCool wasn't going to be pleased with that. But he's like, I've got this thing on my arm, and it's just unbelievable. He's like, his mum hates tattoos. He's like, no, I wrestled in my home country in front of the largest crowd. There were this many people there, and then the number was off by 9,000. Like, I don't even know how. Like, I think Tony Khan or like Shad Khan. I can't remember his dad's name. Someone decided to buy like an extra 10,000 tickets, but like Tony Khan was bullshitting just because at the press conference at like the media scrum after All In, he said there were 81,035 people there. Plus there were several thousand comps. And then all of the staff and people working in Wembley Stadium, there were 90,000 people there. But if the turnstile... Like, we've heard about Steiner Math. The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for Will Ospreay's tattoo and for Tony Khan's credibility. Because the turnstiles don't lie. So if they say there were 72,000 people there, and Tony Khan said that there were several thousand comps... That means that several thousand of those 72 were probably comps. So they probably only sold about 65,000. Which is amazing.
But didn't WWE, like, does this thing where they lie about, like... I've heard them lie about too many.
They lie about everything. But the whole point is Tony Khan sort of shit on them by saying, we're going to actually break the record. Forget 93,000 people at WrestleMania 3, Hogan and Andre. We're actually going to break the record if we get to 81,000. And it turned out that he inflated the number by 9,000.
I mean, I said this, like, earlier when, like, AEW Craze was... I think the opening of Slam Jam was also on AEW's Come Up It. But I always suspect that, like, as it goes down the road, it's gonna follow WWE's example more than it actually rebels against it.
Yeah, you're completely right, because when you think about it, they've fallen out with Punk. Vince fell out with Punk. They said they weren't just going to hire ex-WWE guys like TNA did, and they love to hire their ex-WWE guys. And then there's like so many. They were like, oh, we're going to have long-term storybook telling, And then Tony Khan a week ago was like, no, I just like put together the pay-per-views last minute. They're going to end up good. So like no long-term storytelling anymore. Their ranking system is completely gone. I love AEW though, by the way, but I can still I'll call it as it is, and say like they are what they have probably all learned. Because look, Sonny Kiss got released and was come out today begging to be on the shows, and they ghost people. So like WWE future endeavors all these people. AEW, credit to them, they just let people's contracts usually run out. They only fire CM Punk, but they hire people and they're a shiny new toy until Tony Khan gets a new one, and then he just forgets people.
I think came up in a very good time, but again they couldn't keep the momentum up, and I assume they can. Because the amount of people that they were getting on and the overhype that they were selling it, I'm 100% sure it's going to fall flat on its face, and I'm pretty sure WWE is going to recover quickly. Because they were in a shamble, but they recovered quickly because they have the star power and also long history. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. And now, and look, one of the other big news stories this week, WWE's merger with UFC. TKO is now a thing. What's either of your reactions to that, Sarajit?
Well, this can either be a very good thing or it's going to be the end of WWE.
Wow.
I don't think that, because here's the thing about WWE that most better than the UFC, they pay a lot more than UFC fighters. UFC, like if you're in the top of the food chain, like if you're George Masvidal, Conor McGregor, if you're actually a pay-per-view winning name, you make a lot of money. But otherwise, you're in the shit. Most of them want to go to the WWE because they actually pay a lot more.
Yeah.
And I would say that's a very better option for the UFC fighters, more than the WWE fighters. But again, the WWE also had this ego problem always with the UFC. And then I think in the early days they had a problem with boxing, but again, it was boxing, it was different. But with UFC in particular, they always had a rivalry. But I think you will see more UFC stars hopping into WWE now they actually have a good connection. And look at Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle actually beat John Jones in a state wrestling match. Didn't do shit in UFC, but came to WWE. I thought he was weird. I thought he was never going to be a thing. For some reason, he's still going.
Well, Matt Riddle this week, who knows if he'll continue to be a thing. He was apparently, he got some attention from a police officer or security guard that he didn't actually ask for, at least allegedly. Did you not hear this, Cap?
I have not.
Matt Riddle this week has said that he was sexually assaulted by a police officer going through an airport. JFK Airport. Then some other reports later then said that Riddle was drunk or high or something like this, and his accusation has come under scrutiny. But look, I'm willing to say that this is a situation. It's too serious a situation that I'm not going to make light of it, because if he genuinely was assaulted, he's a big guy, and it's easy to look at any of these wrestlers and say, they should man up or whatever, or not believe people. So I'm not going to do that. But people have scrutinised it a lot, saying that he was high or drunk or something like this, and it may not be genuine. But if it's genuine, then, and if Riddle spoke out about it, then I hope he gets it sorted.
Yeah, I do. I can know, but if it is, I think he should actually get this sorted. And people do give wrestlers. I'm not really sure. Like-minded people would not give that much of a thought, because again, you're dealing with police. They're tough guys; they can fight, but what are they going to do against the law? That's not a thing.
Yeah.
You look at John Jones was being arrested, but what he's going to do? He can kill them if he wants to, but he's not going to do it.
But you know what? Did either of you guys hear that story years and years ago with the Big Show? The Big Show and Diamond Dallas Page were in a car together, and the police pulled them up. Dallas Page was driving, and the officer comes up to the window, and he's like, license and registration. And then apparently the Big Show just leant across and is like, Can we help you, officer? And this officer shit his pants and left them alone. Because what do you do when there's a 7-foot giant there, like with his sausage fingers and all that? You know, I think the Big Show isn't going to have too many problems. Or a UFC example. I literally saw this clip today. Do you remember when Brock Lesnar made his entrance at UFC, and then you hear, and then like as they're walking along, never mind MJF getting a shove from Samoa Joe, Brock Lesnar just punches a cop out of the way, and you hear Joe Rogan on commentary just pissing himself, saying, "Did he just push a cop?" I'll see if I can find that clip. It's brilliant. Brock entrance. So Brock. Again, I'm going to get so many copyright things. Brock Lesnar pushes cop.
He punched Braun Strowman mid-match when he was pretty too rough.
What was that one?
In WWE, this happened when Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar were brawling.
Oh my God,
Braun
yeah.
Strowman was a bit rough on the edge, and then Brock Lesnar did what Brock Lesnar does. Punched his brains out.
Yeah. Like, literally, if you see that clip, Braun's head, like, the whole thing shifts. Okay, let's...
Actual punch from a guy who actually punched.
Yeah, okay, so Brock Lesnar, cop. It's got to be here. Okay, 1 second. Okay, yeah, Brock Lesnar pushes cop. Let's bring up the clip. Make sure it's not playing an ad. Oh my God, this is like some really dodgy recording. But this is on YouTube. So, there's Brock coming along for his entrance.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can get my shield, which didn't help me yesterday. Oh no, I don't have it available here. But so, there's a cop, he pushes him, and then bang! Did you see that? So look, so first of all, the cop's in his way, and he's sort of like, you might think the first one he can get away with. So it's just like a little bit like, oh, excuse me, but then like, he literally shoves him hard out the way. How did Brock not get, like, arrested or something later for that?
Nah, I mean, I think if he was a fully understanding police officer, he would go like, I mean, like, at this move, Brock is already hyped up to actually go and fight someone, so he gets the point. And
but also...
There's also rules where, like, even security officers or even police officers shouldn't get, like, in sort of range with the performers or the actual athletes. There's a law like that even when they're guarding, so I don't think the legal stuff in that would have been much
Okay, what do you think happened to that cop, though? Is it like, everyone's like, hey, yeah, you're the guy that had the thing with Brock? Or is it going to be that everyone rips him for, like, forever, so that he was the one taken down by Brock?
I mean, if he had, like, broken his arm or anything like that, he would have probably sued or something like that would have happened. But otherwise, I think he went back and said, dude, look, Brock Lesnar pushed me right here. He pushed me right here.
Yeah.
That
It'd be like, it's still broken. You know, I'd be suing Brock.
To be honest, he was in the way of Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. You don't get in the way of Brock Lesnar.
Otherwise, Brock Lesnar will Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
But,
okay,
but,
so...
Like, it wasn't that, right?
Yeah.
Also,
Speaking of Matt Riddle.
Yeah, the slipper.
There we go.
It's weird that he's actually good when he's like talking and stuff like that, dealing with fans, even on YouTube and his interviews, he seems okay. But in WWE, absolutely hated him when he showed up in the Royal Rumble. I couldn't stand him.
Really?
He was not the part of the meet and greet, but as we were waiting for the show that was supposed to happen at least 2 hours later, he suddenly shows up, meets the fans, signs some autographs, and leaves.
Was he good? How was he with the fans?
Yeah, he was very friendly.
He seems like an okay dude in interviews and when dealing with the fans and stuff like that. But again, I didn't like him.
I won't be surprised if he was actually high during the JFK airport incident because he was returning from India.
Okay.
Wait, what? I'm confused by this. From India.
Well, we have some great medicinal plants.
But like most of it is like you guys are, I mean like, it's still like a very hard thing compared to the US, I would think.
Yeah.
Listen, we are the originals. We made these things. It's written in our Vedas, like scriptures which are 10,000, 20,000 years old.
Wait, what did you make?
No, I'm saying that the loss about that video would be like much stricter compared to other countries.
You know, Riddle being high, returning from India.
Yeah.
Well, we use some medicinal plants.
Oh wait, you're taking credit for weed? I thought you were like, we invented combat sports or something like this, but you're saying no, like we invented weed.
Yeah, we invented weed. The usage of weed is actually documented in our ancient scriptures, which date back to 10,000, 20,000 BC.
They're still outlawed, right? Like, law is still...
Yeah, thanks to USA.
Yeah.
Wow.
And guess what? USA uses them as medicinal plants.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the Rob Van Dam, Matt Riddle Appreciation Show. But coming back a minute, like, I think I spoke about it before either of you guys came on the show. There's the story going around today that Jade Cargill may be leaving AEW and going to WWE. What's your thoughts on that, guys? Is that a mistake on her part, or...?
I'm thinking she might be a special or a secret appearance at the Royal Rumble, Women's Royal Rumble.
Wow, that's a long way away. Apparently she might be done after this Friday.
But I think she'll be still on the no-compete clause, right?
Not if her contract ends. If your contract has just come to an end, then you're done. That's
probably a surprise entrance at the Survivor Series War Games.
If I were WWE and I got Jade, I would bring her out. Like, is the next pay-per-view Survivor Series? No, it's not Survivor Series. That's November. What is the next one? Fastlane. I would bring her out on TV. Like, I don't think she's a big enough star where you need to debut her at a pay-per-view. Have her come out on TV. Sorry?
Or just send her to NXT.
No, she's got to be main roster. I mean, look, she may be a bit green, but she looks like a star. If she was to come... we had Nia Jax come back this week.
Look at the muscles. McMahon would love her.
Yeah, right. We had Nia Jax return to WWE. Right? So instead of Nia Jax attacking Rhea Ripley, imagine Jade stood opposite Rhea Ripley. That is like a pay-per-view match. Not necessarily a main event, but that is a pay-per-view match just by the face-off. You guys are dumbfounded. You've been looking at Jade Cargill too long.
I mean, I've only been here for a limited time.
You've seen... That's the first time you've seen Jade Cargill?
Yeah, I'm completely out of the loop.
Okay, so she was the first... Okay, so you may remember this. I'll bring it up here. She was the first ever TBS Championship winner. And if you remember the TBS title, named after the TV channel, when you look at TBS, it looks like it says Hose Championship, which was just brilliant. Right, because it's like the T and the way the B has got an O on it, like it just looked like Hose Championship. And she was the longest reigning champion, like in AEW, quite possibly, definitely longest reigning of any of the women, but maybe longest reigning of any of the champions. Like, she was the first champion, held it a year or more, eventually lost it to Chris Statlander. And then she was disappeared after... She took some time off after losing the championship. But then she suddenly's come back like a week ago. And now she's having the rematch, which I assume is pre-taped and that she didn't win, on Rampage. And literally no one watches Rampage. So the fact that they're bringing Jade back just to put over Statlander for a second time when she was undefeated. They were saying it was like a Goldberg-like push. If she's just coming back to wrestle on... like Rampage and lose again, people are speculating that it means that Jade is out of there. Oh, anyway, tell me what you think about TKO.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. I think also the other thing is happening is like Dana White might actually hang up the mantle. He spoke about retirement a few times right now. I don't buy it, but it may happen. But I think he should be in if he's in, I think this will go very smoothly. But
See, you're much more of a MMA UFC guy than me, but I want to. I'm hoping that now we have TKO, that this will help me bridge the gap and I'll get more into UFC. I've always liked UFC. I find it not as easy to follow as wrestling because, wrestlers wrestle 200 times a year. UFC guys have 2 fights a year. It's harder to follow. But like one of the constant in UFC has been Dana White. And so if Dana White was to step down, who steps up? He is the face of the management.
I mean, I would love it if Joe Rogan would step up.
Joe Rogan, he's got like a $100 million podcast. He ain't taking over that.
Yeah, I don't think you would like that pressure, but again, this would be another bit. I don't think it will be a person that has been on screen so far yet. It'll be just a new guy, or they will ease it in. But Dana may not be doing that because the weird thing Dana White did. Dana White hit the WWE major so beautifully. He talked about another sport that he was sponsoring, Power Slap, and everyone was giving shit for it. But then backstage, WWE and UFC got merged, and then Power Slap was like, no one really talked about it again. He secretly managed that whole thing.
What happened to Power Slap? Is it coming back?
I'm not sure. There's like zero talk about it. Dana White didn't even talk about it. Everything's been zeroed off after WWE.
Okay, I'll try to find out what's happened to it.
I think that whole thing was a ruse. He was just, hiding the whole thing because WWE mergers were happening and he didn't want the media attention with the WWE merger.
Yeah. Okay, so on March 13th, 2023, Warner Brothers and TBS representatives confirmed to media that the network would no longer air Power Slap, Road to the Title, following its first season finale, which aired the week partly due to low ratings. White confirmed that Power Slap would continue to hold events and produce content for Rumble. Is Rumble the other YouTube kind of thing?
Yeah.
See, that's really bad. That's a really small platform.
I don't think it will do. I think the whole thing was a ruse. He was just doing that for the WWE merger. That was like all the commentators were saying that. He just did that so he can keep the WWE mergers under wrap because there was a lot of talk coming in, like what happens if we're going to have more Brock Lesnar's from WWE jumping into UFC, or UFC people. Like, the press was on it, but because he was getting so much hate for Power Slap, he managed that very good. But after the WWE merger, there's no Power Slap. Dana White didn't even mention not any of his Instagram so far. He never talked about it in the UFC press conferences, and even the press didn't seem to be interested anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So, guys, give me your thought on this. With in regards to TKO, Nick Khan says that they envision an all-star TKO weekend. What everyone envisions is, can you set up an all-star TKO weekend where SmackDown goes Friday, UFC on Saturday with pay-per-view, and WWE with a premium live event on Sunday? I've heard stuff where Dana White literally says that he doesn't think they have the same audience. Now, obviously, there's a crossover. I'm not interested in UFC. Cap, you obviously are into UFC. Sarajit, are you an MMA guy at all? See, and see. Well, no, but this is the thing. So, we have the 3 stages here. So Sarajit is not in. I've dipped my toes in, and Cap, you're all in, and it's just this represents. We represent the whole trifecta of this brand TKO.
I think one thing is that maybe Dana was kind of right on that because WWE is more now politically very different from UFC. UFC is politically on the right most of the times. There are some outlined different fighters who express different things, but more in the sense I'm not really. I think Donald Trump did actually make an appearance on UFC event.
Who?
Donald Trump.
Who did he fight?
No, he didn't fight. He made an appearance.
Yeah, I think I saw a clip of that as well.
It's Joe Biden and Donald Trump settling it.
Do you remember a few years ago when literally it was Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and whoever the other guy was, all on WWE cutting promos?
Oh my god, I didn't know.
You haven't seen this? For me, this is where Barack Obama won the presidency. because who was like the other guy? I can't even remember nowadays. But like, it was like, sorry,
Bernie Sanders.
I don't know, to be honest. I think it was like, it was either going to be who was president before Obama? No, it was George Bush, wasn't it? So it was whoever like the Republican guy was, I believe. And so they had the Republican guy, and I can't remember who it was. And then it was either going to be Hillary or Barack Obama. And like, I can't remember who the other guy was, but like Hillary Clinton, her promo was like, oh, will they kill me, Rowdy Hillrod Piper, or something like this, and it was terrible. And apparently her middle name is Hillrod. Because I was like, why would you say Hillrod, like Hot Rod? But then Barack Obama was like, can you smell what Barack is cooking? And it was like, and I was like, this dude he's definitely a WWE champion. So it's like, so no wonder like he could like out-talk anyone and become president.
He can do a crowd. I mean, like, put him with the microphone, he can definitely win a crowd. He's very charismatic.
Yeah, exactly. So like WWE, they did that like once.
This is a little more political, but if Obama was like running at the time when Obama was running, I thought Obama would probably win.
Barack Obama actually appeared on WWE on a Monday Night Raw episode, right? I mean, actually, it's dummy did, but well.
I didn't see this. I didn't even know the promos happened. Like David just mentioned it.
No, but there was an episode where Barack Obama appeared on Raw, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't actually Barack Obama. It was one of the dummies, but it was portrayed that Barack Obama was there. It was a backstage incident involving Santino Marella, where he was teaching Barack Obama how to do a cobra, and suddenly Barack Obama's security get him, handcuff him.
What?
Where is Santino Marella anyways? Is he in WWE still?
His daughter now wrestles. Like, I don't know if she's still in WWE, but I think she was signed.
Yes. She is in WWE, in NXT.
I still remember the Muppet segment that he did. That was still the most funniest thing I remember out of Santino Marella. There was a lot of funny things I remember Santino Marella, and I actually wish the comedic wrestling would have caught on.
So like, here's Santino Marella's daughter, which feels so weird because to me Santino Marella feels like he was like in WWE, like debuted 10 years ago. It's like, how can he have a daughter that's now debuted?
Yeah, oh my god, she's gorgeous.
Do you remember that kid from the Bailey and Sasha Banks incident in the NXT?
Yes. What was her name? She's now a wrestler.
She debuted in wrestling.
Yeah. I can't remember her name. I'd look her up, but I can't remember her name.
All the kids in the pre-shows are coming back. They're taking over.
Yeah.
We are getting old.
Okay, guys, look. Are there any other major like stories or things to react to? I'll check to see if there's any other like breaking news and things.
One thing I would say, like, even though Dana White may say,
I made reality.
Good for you. That's amazing.
I would say that one thing about it that Dana said we may not have the same audience. I don't know why Dana White's like playing like a cool card now. He didn't even well, the one time there was a reporter who talked about the WWE merger and Dana White shut him off completely, which is weird because I know that Dana White really adores Vince. He would love to be Vince, in fact. So I'm not really sure why he's playing off us like he's not very interested. But
because there's nothing else that he can do right now.
That's true. But I would say, like, it would be like, I mean, Brock Lesnar was a huge star for the UFC, but right now, UFC doesn't need stars. In fact, they actually have their own stars. So they're pretty good.
But to be honest, I'll be really pissed off if the WWE pay-per-views are moved from Saturdays to Sundays.
The time change might happen.
Yep.
Ooh, that could be a time slot's problem. Could be a different.
Because if that happens, then I firmly believe that WWE will lose a big chunk of Indian viewers of the pay-per-view.
What if they move to Saturdays?
If they move to Sunday.
Okay, but like they used to be on Sunday.
But after they started doing on Saturdays, because their Saturday evening is our Sunday morning.
Oh yeah, so if you do it on Sunday, that would be Monday morning.
That will be Monday morning. That's a working day for us.
Yeah.
And we won't be able to watch it live.
Yeah.
So okay, for that one, I think you may be 100% right on that one. They will use
because I still remember when they used to do the pay-per-views on Sunday. I used to take off on 3 pay-per-view events. That was the Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania. But after they started doing the Saturdays, I only had to take only 1 pay-per-view day off. That was WrestleMania 19.
Yeah.
I still remember when we get DVDs after 1 week after the show has happened and we get the DVDs.
Crazy, isn't it? Okay, I've got a couple of other bits and pieces for you here, guys. So, first of all, it says AEW. This is from Cultaholic. Abandons plans for CM Punk's Real World Championship. Well, it's like obvious. Like they weren't going to do anything with that anyway. What was another one that was of interest here? Apparently, WWE would be interested in Ricky Starks, who's in AEW, if you don't particularly know who I mean, once his contract ends, right? This is all the more reason they need to sign CM Punk, because CM Punk and Ricky Starks were close. Ricky Starks was backstage with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. They need to get CM Punk, they need to get Cody on the phone and say, look, Cody to get on the phone with Ricky Starks, make a deal, WWE. Like, I want some people to go back and forth. I want wrestling to be interesting again.
What happened to WWE's plan on bringing that guy? What was his name?
Luther Reigns. Brian Pitt. Yeah, they've got him. Apparently, he started at the Performance Center. I don't think he's in NXT yet, though.
That's one of the things. They have like a huge training period when they have to bring stars. They actually do have to train them.
Yeah. Okay, now, guys, we're going to have to wrap this fairly soon. But first of all, like, he'll be upset if I don't get to this at some point. Dave Green sent in this specific video for us, guys. So this is some trivia or a joke or something, I'm not sure. We'll hear from Dave and see what he's got to say. And he's muted. Right, okay, unmute. Okay, let's take it back. Okay, here we go, Dave. Go for it.
Hey guys, this is my fact of the week for the show this week. Definitely not a joke.
Oh, not a joke.
So, Rory Strong has been in the past employed as a supply teacher. Does all the subjects, does physical education course, a bit of English, a bit of history, a bit of drama maybe. But he's never been asked to do mathematics since the sad incident where he was basically just trying to get the kids to learn the idea of putting numbers together to come up with a bigger number. But he just kept yelling and the kids kept yelling, Adam! Adam! Adam!
That's actually really good. Now, guys,
I can hear it.
You didn't hear
it? I only heard Adam.
Okay, I'll explain it. Sarah G, are you a AEW guy?
Is he talking about Adam Cole?
Oh, Adam Cole, but no, Roderick Strong. So, like, Sarah, like, I haven't even clarified after all this. So, Cap, you're not quite in the know-how of AEW. Sarah G, how much do you follow AEW?
Well, I know that CM Punk is fired from AEW now.
That tells me everything. Okay, look, Undisputed Era. So, Roderick Strong was like the last guy from the Undisputed Era who hadn't gone to AEW, and then he did. And so, of course, like, Bobby Fish is long since gone out of AEW, and Kyle O'Reilly is injured. So Roderick Strong, he comes in, he does this storyline with Adam Cole, where he's like, hey, we're friends. But then Adam Cole has been in a tag team with MJF, who is notoriously a heel. And so Roderick Strong is always trying to prove to Adam Cole that MJF doesn't really care and he really cares. But like, Roderick Strong has been wearing a neck brace forever, even whilst wrestling and stuff like this. And there is a supercut where he just comes down the aisle and he's screaming, Adam! Adam! And he's really whiny. And Dave's joke, Dave, I hope I'm explaining this correctly, is that Roderick Strong used to be a supply teacher, which means like a substitute teacher. And when the children weren't doing good on their maths, he would shout at them, Adam! Add them! Ta-da! We don't have a quote from the Iron Sheik, but we have Dave Green. So there we go. Guys, we are going to have to wrap up the show here, just because I've got Extreme Improv Xstreamed in a couple of minutes. But I look forward to more Slam Jam in the near future. Sarah G, where can the people find you?
They can find me on my cosplay page. That's at Fluffy Cosplayer on Instagram.
Amazing. Cap, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Sundays where I wrestle, where I punch, where I kick. No, I actually don't do any of that. I think I dance, I throw some the bucket, and I work with puppets. You can see me there doing numerous stuff, and you can also find me here on numerous shows.
Amazing. And my name is David Pstansky. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at David Pstansky. Guys, I'm really excited that very soon I'm announcing an announcement. Oh, look at that. I can't believe you're cutting off my promo. Right, just to show us Rhea Ripley. Right, okay, guys, I'm going to have something really cool, Slam Jam related, to share with people very soon. Slam Jam is evolving, and there's going to be some really cool stuff coming up. Like people are going to start finding out about within this next week. But with that, from me, from everyone else, stay safe, always stay extreme, and keep slamming and jamming all you Slam Jam bronies out there. Ciao for now. Boom!
Vinny Bell is the best!
And we're off the air.